Welcome to Jordan. We are here for a road trip in this Mercedes E-Class. We'll be driving through some spectacular landscape, visiting the ancient ruins of Petra and finally floating in the Dead Sea. But we start our journey in an appropriate place, which is the Royal Automobile Museum. Now, the royal family, they've really loved cars, and this museum has all the cars the royal family owned. So let's take a quick tour before we hit the road. The Royal Automobile Museum in Amman has an intimate connection with Jordan's royal family, and that's what makes it special. In fact, the late King Hussein was possibly the most car-crazy monarch in the world, and this museum celebrates his passion. It's a showcase of his personal collection, and what an eclectic collection it is. Some of his favorites: you have the gorgeous Aston Martin DB2 Vantage, which the king used before he was crowned. The 1961 Lincoln Continental convertible used for special occasions. And you can't miss the impeccably restored 1938 Packard 12. And there's that pair of bright red Ferraris, which by the way are no less than an F50 Spider and the iconic F40. And of course, no collection can be complete without the three-pointed star. This museum has an array of classic Mercs, but the one that stands out is the 600 Pullman, the last car in which the late King Hussein was seen in public before he passed away. Driving in Amman is quite easy. Google Maps works, and parking at the tourist spots is not too difficult to find. Now, the thing about Amman is that it is on 7 hills, so there are constant ups and downs. So you're either powering up some hill or breaking down a steep slope. You need a car with lots of torque and strong brakes, and thankfully the E-Class has both. My first stop is the Citadel, the ruins of an ancient fortress. I make good use of the E-Class's 500 Newton meters of torque to power up the steep and narrow road to the ancient ruins that are perched on top of one of Amman's many hills. You can spend the better part of a day at the Citadel, which takes you back to even before the Bronze Age. So here we are at the Citadel, which is on one of the 7 hills in Amman. This place is where history is probably at its oldest. It goes back to 5500 BC, at a time when wheels didn't even exist. Can you imagine a world without wheels? Monuments such as the Temple of Hercules and the Umayyad Palace tell stories of great empires. But from up here, you can also see different epochs of Jordan unfold before you. So here we are at the top of the Citadel, and you can see modern Amman with all the skyscrapers, and on this side you have old Amman, and I'm standing right next to something that's almost 2,000 years old. All of this in one frame. That's just amazing. An equally impressive sight is the Jordanian flag, gently and proudly fluttering on a 127-meter flagpole, which is amongst the tallest in the world. A 5-minute drive from the Citadel is the Roman amphitheater, but driving there is quite an adventure. Roads in the old city are really narrow, so you need to keep your wits about you. The E-Class's parking sensors go ballistic and my judgment is tested to the nearest millimeter while rolling down these very steep gradients. I have to remind myself that this Mercedes sedan isn't a compact car, though it did behave like one. The 2nd century AD amphitheatre is an enduring legacy of the reach and influence of the Roman Empire. Back in the day, this well-preserved structure hosted public gatherings and performances, including gladiator fights, and could seat about 6,000 people. Now it's just us tourists free to choose the best seat in the house and sit back and imagine what the spectacles in this arena must have been like. And you don't have to be in Rome to do what the Romans do or did. You can simply do that in the ancient city of Jerash, which is just an hour's drive from Amman. The Roman ruins in Jerash give you a good idea of the power that radiated from the heart of the Roman Empire. Entering the city through Hadrian's Arch, walking through the ruins on streets still paved with the original stones, you feel like a Roman. It's like being teleported back some 2,000 years when Jerash thrived as a prosperous Roman provincial capital. Wherever they went and whoever they conquered, the Romans knew how to have a blast. They built things on a grand scale. Stadiums for sports, amphitheaters for their grand spectacles, and markets for their shopaholic tendencies. So after some fabulous days of exploring Amman, we are about to hit the road to Wadi Rum. I'm joined by a tight-knit group of friends who have happily signed up for the pilot round of Autocar Expeditions. This is our new initiative to take people on unique self-driving trips all over the world. And what better way to see a country than in the luxury of a Merc? So we arranged 5 additional E-Classes for our group to travel in, all synced with radio communication. Our motorcade of black E350s turned heads wherever we went. All we needed were red lights and outriders to pass off as an official state convoy. Leaving Amman is easy and traffic is fairly light. Our drive out reveals the modern side of the city. Wide and well-marked roads and a series of interchanges seamlessly take us to the desert highway. So the drive from Amman to Wadi Rum, it's about 320 km. Most of it is on a dual carriageway. It's a very easy drive. The E-Class finally has a chance to stretch its legs and we settle into a nice rhythm, cruising close to the 100-kilometer speed limit. Highways in Jordan are by and large smooth, but you do get the odd rough patch and the odd pothole which the E-Class stoically soaks up. The first refueling stop outside Amman reveals the price of fuel, which at around 1.2 Jordanian dinars or 116 rupees for a litre of 95 octane is pretty steep. As you approach Wadi Rum, the landscape undergoes a dramatic transformation. It's bleak, it's stark and strewn with wild rock formations. This is Wadi Rum. There are few places on earth like it. In fact, it doesn't even feel like you're on earth, and that's why movies like Interstellar and Martian have been shot here. It's a very otherworldly experience. Lunch in Wadi Rum is out of this world too, or should I say under the earth. This Bedouin signature dish is lamb slow cooked in an underground oven or pit, lined with hot rocks and charcoal. It's this slow and consistent heat source which makes the meat incredibly tender and succulent, almost falling off the bone. The food in Jordan is like a Middle Eastern adventure for your taste buds. We tried everything from mansaf, lots of meze dishes, and kunafa, which is a sweet pastry-like dessert that's very popular. We totally pigged out and left Jordan a couple of kilos heavier for sure. Driving deep into Wadi Rum, you leave behind all semblance of civilization. The untouched beauty and vastness of the desert valley just blows you away. And in this land of sand, I rather unsuccessfully tried to conquer a small dune which swallowed my feet with every step. I have to say, for me, 4 wheels are certainly better than 2 legs. And in the evening, the setting sun ignites Wadi Rum with a reddish-orange glow and ends a mesmerizing day. The next morning, we leave Wadi Rum's alien landscape and head for the ancient city of Petra, which is just about on everyone's bucket list. Petra is just about 120 km away, and the short 2-hour drive is incredibly picturesque with some fabulous views. But are these vistas the best in the world? Well, that's what a big signboard at one of the rest stops boldly claims. Marketing gimmick or not, it certainly got us to stop and check out the stunning panoramic view. Well, it's debatable if that is the best view in the world, but what there's no debate about is Petra, which reigns as the ultimate archaeological site in the world. Just the walk in Petra through the Sikh, the gateway to the ancient city, is something you'll never experience anywhere. Meandering down this narrow gorge that cuts through incredibly dramatic rock formations is an adventure in itself. Every turn which may have once hidden treasures is now a great photo op spot. These rocks still hold secrets of the ancient Nabatean civilization that thrived here over 2,000 years ago. You can see a smattering of ancient sculptures and inscriptions carved into the rocks. But what's the most amazing thing about Petra is the intricate water management system. A fine network of channels and conduits have been carved into the walls to divert rainwater to reservoirs and cisterns. The Nabateans were possibly the greatest hydrologists in the world. And as you emerge from the captivating Sikh, the first view of the treasury, Petra's most iconic monument hacked into the rock face, simply hits you. So here I am outside the treasury in Petra. It's really one of the most iconic structures over here, and it is absolutely jam-packed with tourists. You can just see how crowded it is. But honestly, that sight when you walk through that narrow gorge, which is the Sikh, and suddenly the treasury just jumps upon you in all its splendor, is something that is absolutely awesome. It's this combination of awe-inspiring architecture carved into equally stunning sandstone cliffs and rock faces that makes Petra unforgettable. Petra has a sideshow as well, and it's Little Petra, which though not as grand and much smaller, has similar rock-cut facades and tombs. And the best part about Little Petra is the drive to get there. And getting to it really is, for me, a highlight because the roads to get there are just fabulous. Undulating, twisty, with not much traffic. So it is just a great drive, and in a car with good body control like this E-Class, you can have a lot of fun along with your sightseeing. In fact, the roads in this part of Jordan are a driver's delight, and leaving Petra for the Dead Sea is a dramatic drive. The road drops from 800 meters above sea level to 430 below as you descend to the lowest point on Earth. Once you hit the plains, it's a straight run to the Dead Sea, which slowly appears on your left. There's very little traffic, so you can hold a good speed, but you have to watch for unmarked speed breakers that suddenly pop out of nowhere. So we've ended our lap of Jordan right here at the Dead Sea. It's been a magical week of driving on some great roads, visiting some great places, in some great cars. The sights, the food, And the people over here, absolutely amazing. And with no more driving, we've taken a customary dip in the Dead Sea, the absolute lowest point on earth. And quite frankly, that swim has been one of our biggest highs.